What's happening, everybody? What's happening? I'm back. I'm back. Is y'all ready? Is y'all ready? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Moment with MoeSghetti podcast. I am your hostess with the mostest, your auntie, sister, cousin, best friend, always coming with the realness, MoeSghetti herself. And here we getting ready to talk about mental health and spiritual wellness. And let me tell y'all, it has been a while since I have been on this camera. It's been a while since I've been on this mic. I missed y'all, but it was a much needed break. You know, if anything I preach is self-care and taking breaks and loving on yourself and feeling yourself before you pour out to other folks. So I had to take a moment to do that. But now that I've taken my moment to do that, y'all get y'all moment with MoeSghetti. So welcome back, friends and family. Hey! All right, as you can see, with the studio, it's a little different around me. I'm sitting here on the couch. I'm enjoying myself, lounging a little bit. Hey, um, I am still with the TDR Studio Tone Deaf Network, but we have changed locations. So we are no longer in the Sherman Phoenix, but we still have a robust podcast schedule going on. We still have a robust podcast audience that is with us. And you might see me on more shows on this couch than you're accustomed to. But that is all in the vein of growth and development and moving forward in life. And so as the TDR network grows, so does the Moment with MoeSghetti podcast. And I'm really excited about what we have in store for the next arc of this show. As you can see, I have a new intro for the start of the show. I'm really excited about that. It's real cute. It's feeling a little bit more grown and sophisticated. And the vision for the show is also developing along the way too. So what I do have in store for you guys is I'm going to take a little bit of an exploration down the path of healing through art. And I have a slew of friends and families and colleagues who I had planned on having on the show with me so they can share their experience of healing themselves through art. And so, with that being said, since I'm on the couch by myself today, I am going to start off that series by sharing with you all how I have used different art forms to heal myself in different ways. So, before we get into that, one thing that has remained the same is we starting this show off with the church announcements. And the other thing that has remained the same is I still do not have my audio for the start of the church announcements. Do not judge me. We just we gonna get it. It's my mission to make sure that I get that intro for the church announcements. But with that being said, we still have some wonderful things coming up. First and foremost, on February 22nd, uh, I will be participating in another round of Poetry After Dark. So if you're looking for some tickets, come holla at your girl. But if that is not quite your modus operandi, there is another event on February 22nd at the same time called Showcase on Stage, run by one of my favorite poets, My Poetry Speaks. So if you're not with me, you better be with him. Okay, find you something to do on the evening of February 22nd. I believe that show starts at around 8 p.m. and our show starts about 9 or 10. So I'll at me. The flyers will be up and in heavy rotation on all my social medias. Um, and then on March 4th at Food for Thought, yes, that is a Tuesday, the feature will be none other than MoeSghetti herself. Yes, it'll be March 4th at Mikasa Su Cafe at 7 p.m. Food for Thought. I will be the feature for the evening to kick off Women's History Month. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about coming back to do another feature. Every time I do a feature there, I just grow and develop and change a little bit more. And I'm really excited about giving you guys what I have next in store for my personal artistry. And speaking of Women's History Month and Showcase on Stage, on March, what is that? March 29th. I will also be performing at Showcase on Stage to end off Women's History Month. So I'm really excited about all of the things that we have in store. And of course, there'll be a variety of other performances with Praise Motivated sprinkled in between there. So if you want to stay on top of all the church announcements, I try to keep my Instagram, MoeSghetti, up to date. I try to keep, my Facebook, MoeSghetti, up to date so that you guys can know what's going on and just come and participate, come and support. I'm also in talks with some people about doing some sober based events. So if you're interested in diversifying your atmospheres and being somewhere that's a little bit more wholesome, but definitely a lit and entertaining space. Follow me so that you can keep up with all of the things. Let's go to the chat. What's up, June? It's great to see you. Hearts, 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 hearts. So let's get into the show today. Okay? Let's get into it. All right. Like I said, we are going on a journey of how art can heal, how art can heal the soul, really. And so, if you know me, or if you've been around me in the artist space, I don't necessarily identify as a poet, where many people have seen me perform, and I don't necessarily identify as a singer, where a lot of other people have seen me perform. I identify as an artist, just because there are so many different art forms that I connect with, that I use in order to express myself. And so, the three avenues that I really wanted to talk about today and how they've assisted me on my healing journey are the areas of music, poetry, and the creative visual arts. And so, to break that down a little bit, of course, music, the music that you listen to, the music also that I perform, poetry, the poetry that I write, and the poetry that I perform, and visual arts more so in the media of painting and crafting and things that I'm able to do with my hands. And so what we're going to do today is kind of walk through each of those things and talk about how I've used them on my own personal journey to help rid myself of, or free myself and process different traumas. MoeSghetti is in the chat. I can't go further without acknowledging her. Hey, mommy, I love you. Play. Oh, just because I'm being ignorant, they don't want to play right now. That's what I get. That's what I get for trying to get on my mama nerves. Hold on. There you go. There you go. Hey, MoeSghetti. Of course, that's my biggest fan and one of our number one supporters. And I'm always appreciative of her being in the chat and being a part of the show. And of course, I'm appreciative of everyone who either watches the Moment with MoeSghetti podcast live or who catches it on the replay. I'm very encouraged when I hear that you guys are watching, that you guys are listening, that you guys are taking away even small things from the pod. I really, truly appreciate when people come back and like, yeah, I see your show. I watch your show. It was really good. I'm encouraged by that. It helps me continue to put forth a lot of effort to bring you guys quality podcasts, not just entertainment, not just some stuff that I just threw together at the last minute, but really it encourages me to take the time to dive within myself so that I can share something that can be substantive with you guys. Because anybody can just get up and just talk about a little bit of nothing. But I actually care about what I bring you guys. So when I hear back that I'm bringing you guys something of substance, it warms my heart and it keeps me going. It fills my cup and it revs my engine. All right. So I still got my notebook over here. And what we're going to talk about. All right. So when it comes to music, now I love to sing. I love to be a part of the choir. And I always say that the choir really is the thing that saved my life, that saved my soul. Because just the sheer entertainment factor of hearing a bunch of people gather together to sing together is something I just had to see. There was a time in my life where my parents were not going to church, and I started going back to church on a regular basis just by myself. And the thing that I was trying to see, I wasn't caring about no word. Yeah, I knew I was going to get one. I wanted to hear the choir, and I had to be there in time. I had to get in there before the choir sat down because it was just a beautiful experience. And so music has been a thing to really help me, to really draw me in, And when I'm in my prayer life, it is one of the things that helps me trying to shift the atmosphere from wherever I am into wherever I need to be, and not just draw me in. It draws me in closer to God and draws God closer into me. And so there's a really like a relationship that can occur when you are listening to music. Just think about all the people who just love their favorite music artists. Part of the reason why we love it is because the music just has a connecting power with it. It really can deliver a message, and also whether good or bad, and also can be a source of information, and affirmation. And so along my healing process, they say you are what you eat. And so when I'm considering my music, the music that I want to listen to, how I want to feel about my day, I'm intentional about listening to things that are positive. I'm intentional about, throwing some gospel music in there in my morning. I'm intentional about music that brings good messaging, because the things that you consume are the things that you're filled with through the day, and that is going to be a part of what you produce. And so while I'm healing, when I want to feel better about myself, when I want to feel empowered, when I want to feel encouraged, I put on music that will fill me up in those areas, that will allow me to not only just hear, but speak out beauty and positivity, not just take in, but also produce. Because words have power. And if you're walking around constantly on a loop saying things that are negative, no new friends, no new friends. How do you expect to make new friends? You wondering why you lonely. But if you are, singing things that I love myself. Oh, I did not mean to go Drake and Kendrick Lamar on purpose, but it happened. Um, you develop a different disposition within your life. You create a different atmosphere around you. You're consuming something, and thus you're filled with it, and thus you're able to produce a total different outcome, because you're creating a different atmosphere around you. So music does that beautifully for me. Um, Music also helps me process whatever emotions that I have going on. When it comes to emotions, I think that we fail to realize that we process and digest them very much the same way that we process and digest food. And you can be emotionally constipated because you have a bunch of feelings that are blocked up in you and you don't know what to do with them. You may not even know exactly how to articulate them or how you feel. But when I put on a song, it can act as a emotional laxative to get things moving along. If you've ever had one of those moments where you just felt like you needed to cry, but you couldn't cry, and you put on that perfect song and just get the ball and sliding down the wall, snotting and carrying on, that is the music operating as your emotional laxative to help you process and get those emotions through. And as long as you don't sit there and dwell in it, because like I said, the music can set the atmosphere for what you produce. As long as you don't sit there and dwell in it, you actually can come through that experience feeling refreshed and relieved. The words that the songstress or the writers have put to music can offer an opportunity for you to articulate things that you hadn't yet been able to put in words. Um, that's why you hear your favorite love song, your favorite breakup song, and it cuts straight to your feelings, because they've said something that is so beautifully and profoundly written that articulates exactly how you feel. Or not just the sad times too, though, when you want to be happy, it can help you really express, I got joy. It can help you really express, I feel good. Da, 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 da. You knew that I would now. Like, you can circulate those emotions through your body through the use of music, and not just the musicality of it, but also the words that are produced through listening to the music. So yeah, music is one of those things that I use on a daily basis to help me along my healing process, and it's such an easy thing to access, because no matter what mood you are in, you don't have to do a whole lot to play the song that will get you to the mood that you want to be in. It is one of the easiest ways for me to shift the atmosphere within my spirit. Is when I hop up out the bed and put my swag on, like I feel ready for the day. Okay, I look. Don't tell the church. I listen to trap music on my way to work because it's time to hustle hard. But all of those different avenues of music, all those different genres of music, when used intentionally, when used purposefully, can help you, can help take you from where you are to where you want to be, or help you sustain as you are going along your journey. That's one of the beautiful things about gospel music because it can be very. I've learned so many scriptures through a gospel song. Okay, that's why they make you sing all them songs when you are in vacation Bible school, because then when you actually go over and read the word and you find the corresponding things, it sticks because you have been repeating this. You've been repeating this. You've been repeating this over and over again, and now you see where it comes from, and now it has a little bit of a deeper meaning. So, music, just as much as that has the ability to heal, it also has the ability to harm. Because there's a lot of people out here who are listening to, I don't want to, drill music, shooter music, gang music, and when you consume too much of that, you start to be you start to create an atmosphere where you believe that that's the only thing that exists, and you start to live out that lifestyle. And we've seen countless times where people are living out lifestyles that they hear in music, and their lives begin to reflect the things that they are consuming. And so, with intention, with direction, music can be an, a consistent, beautiful, healing, life changing, shifting tool, and it can be used at any time. It can be effective relatively quickly. I feel like I was a little bit all over the place with music, but there's a lot that music has done for me. Um, Moving on to poetry. Now, poetry is a little bit different. Um, Personally, so I was recently having a conversation with a poet friend of mine, and she posed the question: has poetry saved your life? Because a lot of poets around say poetry saved my life. Without poetry, I don't know where I would be or what I would do. Um, and my answer to her was, I don't know if poetry saved my life as much as it did resurrect dead parts of me from the darkness. Um, I like to say I'm doing fine, but there are parts of me that through my healing journey I have understood or come to understand have been very suppressed. Parts of me that I have not shared with the world. And poetry became a vehicle in which I can explore those spaces. Poetry became a vehicle, the writing and the performing of poetry helped me build my confidence. It gave me the opportunity to to knock out my anxiety by being on more stages, by standing in front of more people, by getting up. Because I got a rapper's attitude sometimes when I do poetry. Okay, I be up there spitting. You can't tell me I ain't the greatest. And I know like every poet is not always a fan of that type of poetry, but for me, the healing aspect in that is a building of the confidence for me to get in front of a bunch of people and tell y'all that I am that girl and you can't stop me. And when you say it with your chest, like you affirm that information into the atmosphere, and there's a glow that comes along with that. There's a confidence that goes along with that, because let's face it, when you're out here and you're trying to do the Lord's work, or you're out here trying to do anything that requires a sort of bigness to it, the more you're stifled, the more the enemy can just come in and take away the thing that you're supposed to be doing. If you're supposed to be speaking, the enemy is going to try to get you to shut up. If you're supposed to be sharing a message, your lack of confidence will be the very thing that makes sure that the message never leaves your lips, let alone enters all the way into the ears of somebody else. And so poetry, the performing of poetry and the performing of music have both created avenues for me to be able to grow my confidence as an individual, as a speaker, and just stand up a little taller, a little louder in the things that I feel like are important to say. Speaking of things that are important to say, poetry also offered me the opportunity, especially the writing of poetry, offered me the opportunity to say things that I need to say uninterrupted. Sometimes when we're in conversation with people, your thoughts might get twisted, or they might, ask a question and interrupt the flow of what you were saying, or you may not have articulated yourself exactly the way that you wanted to speak. But when it comes to poetry, when I sit down with my notebook and I curate a rhyme, when I curate a stanza, when I curate a whole piece of work, I get a chance to say exactly what I want to say with no confusion, with as many analogies as I want to, with as much fluff and flower or as direct as I choose, with no interruptions. And there's something satisfying about getting that complete thought out. And then the performance of that type of work. Like I said, the enemy's one of his greatest tools is to get you to is divide us, and another one is to get us to shut up. I have been able to release so much shame behind the things that I have gone through the avenue of poetry. I have gotten on the mic with a book, shaking like a leaf, with a poem in my hand talking about childhood sexual trauma, talking about domestic violence, talking about dealing with parents with substance abuse issues. And those things aren't easy to just stand up and talk about. Because when, where, and how do you just declare to the world, these are the things that I've gone through? Well, part of dealing with those things is the shame that goes with them. You deal with them in silence. And when you're ready to break out and tell your story, how do you tell it and where do you tell it? Well, on a poetry stage, when you done wrote a poem and you're determined to speak it and they call your name and you're standing in front of everybody with that poem, if you're brave enough, you have no choice but to read it. And on those occurrences, I have found nothing but love and support. And the boogeyman likes to tell you that when you share these deeply personal things about yourself, people will see you differently in a negative light. People will shame you for having gone through these things. And sometimes they do. But from my experience, when I share these things on a poetry stage, especially if I got some dope rhymes to articulate it with, my vulnerability is well received. And once you shine light on those things that you thought were shameful, they can no longer hurt you because shame is just your imagination in overdrive. It doesn't actually hurt you. It doesn't actually stop you other than the stifling effects of it, all in and of it itself. Like that's shame is that there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Because there are some things to actually be afraid of. Like you should be actually afraid of a little lion, a tiger, or a bear. You should actually be afraid of getting shot. You should actually be afraid of going to hell. But telling your story, actually acknowledging the things that you've already been through, because let's put that in there. You've already been through it, or you're already living through it. And the only thing that is keeping you from speaking it is that you don't know how you'll be received. And so poetry has allowed me to craft something to share with the world and throw it out there to see how it's received. And whether it's received beautifully or negatively, and most of the time it's received beautifully, it is out of me. It's no longer a secret. It's no longer a thing to hide behind. And there's so much healing power behind that because we stifle ourselves. Just like, well, what if people see? What if people know? What if people... Well, once you get on stage and say it, it's not a what if, it's now what. And usually the now what is just an applause, perhaps some support, and even more beautifully, somebody else in the space who can relate, who doesn't have the bravery to take their shame off, but a layer of it has been removed because they know that they exist in a world with other people who know intimately what they have gone through from a personal perspective. And that starts the peeling off of the layers. That starts the healing process that allows them to begin their journey of no longer hiding. So we can bring everybody out of the shadows who's hurt, who's ashamed. We can bring them all out of the shadows to where we can build community and love and actually process the trauma that we've been through so that we can live in a space of light. So that's one of the ways that, or some of the ways that poetry has beautifully helped you and me. Did I miss anything? A place where I can hear my song. All right. And visual arts and crafting. So this is the part of me that I don't always share a lot with people because it's really not that's kind of the point of it. That's kind of the point of me participating in visual arts and crafting is that I don't have to share my work with you. I don't have to share my paintings with you. I'm not Van Gogh. I'm not a painter. I don't sell paintings. I mean, if you want to buy any of my paintings, I will sell them to you. They just hang out, and, you might see them in the background of some of my content. But that's not why I do it. As a matter of fact, I paint for the complete opposite effect. Is so that it is a low stress way for me to express myself. I'm not selling this painting unless somebody just really wants it. And so if I mess up or if I never finish it, it's just somewhere for me to put my feelings when my feelings don't necessarily have words yet. And it's kind of a strange thought. Like, what do you mean your feelings don't have words yet? You know when you're walking around saying I feel some type of way. Well, your feelings haven't quite articulated themselves into words. And so when I sit down to paint, and when I sit down to do arts and craft projects, when I sit down to color, it's an avenue of art in which I can begin that processing, begin discovering what I feel. Sometimes just slapping the colors together just tells me more about what I'm feeling than me sitting down with the color feelings wheel trying to pick a word to describe it. It also offers an opportunity for me to lower my anxiety. If I'm creating just for the sake of creating with low pressure, my anxiety doesn't get an opportunity to take over. And I might create something beautiful out of it. Or I might create something that I want to throw in the garbage. But because there's no pressure, there's no expectation behind it. There's no anxiety. There's no perfectionism. There is just art for the sake of creating art. And that is a beautiful healing thing for me, especially coming from I went to King, I have a master's degree. Like being a high achiever is just kind of like one of those things you do. I have a lot of perfectionists in my blood. And when I allow myself to just create for the sake of creating, I don't have to be the best. I don't have to be the brightest. I'm not going to get an A on my arts and crafts project. Nobody's grading it anyways. But creating for the sake of creation allows those emotions to move through. And then, especially while I'm painting, it's an opportunity to receive. So in our prayer time, in our lives, we're doing so much output, so much talking, so much petitioning, so much asking, so much talking. It's not always easy to find an opportunity to just be silent for a long time and just receive. And when I'm creating, I create space for me to just receive, especially when I'm painting. Oh my goodness, especially while I'm painting. I allow my brain to just think the thoughts that it needs to think. I allow the Holy Spirit to drop in whatever messaging that it needs to drop in. I allow God to talk to me in the way that God needs to talk to me. And I just allow free space where I'm not asking for anything. I'm not petitioning for anything. I'm just letting thought flow. And in most times, the things that pop up, I'm like, oh, that bothers me. Oh, when my mind is free, that's what I'm thinking about. Okay, good to know. I have beautiful epiphanies and revelations in those moments where I just block out time to let whatever that needs to flow. And so for me, those are the main avenues in which I allow artistry to work on me. It's multifaceted. It is the creation of the thing. It is the presentation of the art. It is the shifting of the atmosphere of the art. It is a shifting of perspective through the art. There's so many beautiful benefits of creating and sharing art that allow me to be a better, brighter person, that allow me to decompress my thoughts in a world of chaos, that allow me to structure my thoughts and when everything is spinning out of control, an opportunity for me to sit still with myself and an opportunity for others to sit still with me, an opportunity for others to learn from me, and also an opportunity for me to learn from others. And so I'm really excited about the trajectory of the show going forward. I'm really excited about bringing on people and hearing the variety of struggles that they've gone through and how art has helped them navigate, has helped them process, um, from grief to trauma to depression. We're here to talk about it all. And I really hope that those who are watching are inspired to pick up art and artistry in their own form in order to reap these benefits. And nobody ever has to experience your art for you to be an artist, for you to participate in this. You know, creativity is such in line with my spirituality. Like the Bible starts with creation. You know, God is a creator, and in his image we are also creators. And when we don't allow ourselves to create, we stifle so much beauty and so much healing and so much joy that could come into this world. And if we only allow those who choose to create things that are poisonous to be the ones to be distributing, then we will never be healed because we're not distributing our medicine in the process. So I'm really excited about what is to come. I'm really excited about the art that I have yet to make because I'm stepping into an era of bravery that I've never been in before. And I've got some things that I want to write and some things that I want to share that I'm finally ready to express in a way that I haven't been before. And it's a beautiful thing. And I guess, you know, like one of my artistic endeavors that I didn't even plan on talking about here um, is my appearance. There's art in everything. There's an art to the way that you dress. So if you see me looking a little bit more fly, a little bit more put together, a little bit more adorned, it's because I'm also leaning into the artistry of beauty. Because I'm beautiful on the inside, and there's nothing wrong with being beautiful on the outside too, especially for the sake of adorning myself to make me feel better. So a lot of people have been like, "What's going on with you, Ma? I see you losing weight. I see you, I see you dress. You look nice there." It is all for the sake of leaning into bringing more beautiful art into the world, healing, being louder, being more expressive, so that other people know that it is safe to do the same. It is safe. It is encouraged. It is almost commanded that we create. So it is my first episode back in a long, 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 long time. And I'm not going to dwell on too long, but I'm really excited about the show. And I hope that you guys are ready for this journey that we're about to take. And I hope that you guys are inspired by it. And so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and cut it short because I'm tired. But I had to be here with y'all today because I had to keep this journey up for me. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pray on out, and that'll be that. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day. Thank you for this time. I thank you for this opportunity to share some space with your people. I hope that something that was heard today can inspire those who want to create, those who want to get in tap with their emotions, those who want to express themselves better, to jump 2 feet in and just do it. And Father God, I hope that you bring the people to me that can be inspired, and that you give me the words to inspire them, to heal them, and to grow your people for the better. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit who worked through me. Thank God. And amen. All right, y'all. So that has been our first episode back in a little minute. As always, if you would like to support the pod, cash app, hashtag $ MoeSghetti. Buy me a coffee, buy me a car, whatever's in your wallet and whatever is on your heart. It just goes to the production of the show, making sure that TDR runs well, that the MoeSghetti podcast runs well, and that all of the endeavors that we have going forward are, well funded, and so that I can produce things that are even bigger, even better, even brighter for you guys. I really appreciate you spending a moment with me. Until we meet again. Take me out, Tom.